Hi there, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today, and welcome to this episode of Catalyst Conversations. I'm your host, Hadriana Leo, and with me today, as usual, I am so excited. Please help me welcome Miss Lisa Dublin. Lisa, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Hadriana.
Oh, it's been a minute that I've been trying to get to you, my dear, because we have some people in common. It's kind of like I think they explained as we've been playing in the same sandbox, but not quite connecting. So it's really an honor for us to get together today. And if memory serves me right, you are out in Edmonton, and that's in
Yes.
Alberta, in Canada, correct?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is like all fun and games. I have spent a sum total of maybe a day in Edmonton.
Is that so? Oh my goodness.
I was visiting with my sister-in-law. She lived in Calgary at the time,
Hmm.
and we was spending a week and a bit there with her.
Hmm.
And we decided to take a day trip to Edmonton and overnighted there for a bit. And that was really nice. I actually enjoy the city. It's nice. It's a lot quieter than my closest metropolitan city, which is Toronto. But I'm betting you're enjoying it out there.
Well, it's the only place I know of as home in Canada. So I was telling you before we started that my family has been here since 1975. So I'm like second generation St. Lucian to be in this city. So I've never lived anywhere else in Canada. I have a little joke about one time I took my son to Toronto to get his passport because he's Trinidadian
Right.
and to get his passport renewed. And I was so surprised, Adriana, to see like a black person driving the bus. Oh my gosh.
Yes, indeed.
What happens? I mean, it's a little more diverse now here, even in those spaces, like, the
Mhm.
public, roles, etc. But I think when I
Yes.
came, and I've been coming since 1995, like visiting,
Mhm.
so you just didn't see those things. So
Yeah.
it's like,
It's
okay,
interesting, and that might be a whole other episode. But
yeah.
it's interesting what happens when we see ourselves reflected in places and spaces that give us, options, and that just turns things into, oh my goodness, imagine the possibilities, right?
Absolutely. It's a serious thinking. Yeah, for
Some
sure.
serious thinking. But all that being said, you've been kind of making your mark in Edmonton and around the world, actually, because I've seen you doing your thing across various stages in multiple countries. And I'm excited to dive into all of that with our audience today. But let's get started with a motto or a saying that just resonates with you. It does something for you. I guess it's meaningful to you. So what Lisa said to me was this: a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before kings. And it's taken from one of my favorite books, probably my all-time favorite books. It's taken from the Bible.
Yeah.
Lisa, tell me a little bit about that quote and what makes that meaningful for you.
I think so. This is from Proverbs 18:16. And just because like man there is generic, meaning both male and female. But for our purposes here, we're women. So a woman's gift makes room for her and brings her
Yes.
before kings and queens. And it goes hand in hand, if I may, with another quote from the same book of Proverbs that says, it's Proverbs 22:29. And I do not mean to like, we're not Bibling at all, but it's just that these ones, they inform life as we know it professionally as well. This one also says, do you see a man diligent in his work? He shall stand before kings, and he shall not stand before mean men. So on one side, you've got the gift, and on the other side, you have that sense of, I've got to work what God gave me so that I can go as far as I can with it because it brings me in a different space. You and
That's
I have
right.
spoken about mastery, and so that is where that comes in. It
Yes.
resonates with me, that first one about a man's gift making room for him, because I feel like I'm one of those people, just very talented in many ways. And what I've found, even coaching high performers like me, is that you can be a magpie. You can be flitting from the one good thing to the next good thing and the next good thing, and you never move from good to great because you are just
Right.
all over the place. And
Yes.
so this scripture has helped me to just dial in on what I am best at
Mhm.
Is it Gabe? I forgot the guy's name, but in the Big Leap, he talks about having the four zones of work. There's zone of incompetence, zone of competence, zone of excellence, and zone of genius. I do believe that every single person was meant to be and operate in a zone of genius, and when you find it, life gets easier and more interesting for yourself and for the gift that you make of your gift for those people around you. So that's why it
I
resonates
love
with
it.
me. Yeah.
I love it. And that's so powerful. I mean, we've only just kind of started peeling back the layers of depth and meaning in those kind of scriptures or sayings. But when I think about it, what just came to mind is none of this, not in the big leap and not in the quotes that you presented from Proverbs. Nowhere did it say it got easy.
No, oh no, absolutely not.
Nor did it say it got easy. It spoke of diligence. It spoke of, when you are using your gift. It spoke of room being made for you, but nowhere did it say it was going to be easy.
Nope, absolutely not. You still have to do the work. And I
Yes.
think to I will always start from I'm a Christian, and that would always be my grounding.
Mhm.
And I think all of my life is taking those Christian principles and translating them into every part of life in a way that is palatable to
Yes.
everybody beyond
Yes.
Christendom, right?
Yes.
And that
100%.
Yes, absolutely. And that enters into the professional space because that is where I operate. And
Yep.
so even in those spaces, it's about doing the work. It's about, first of all, saying during COVID, there was something I used to put out, a little meme, because it occurred to me very early that we were in a Kairos moment of life. That if you
Mhm.
handled that time when you didn't have to go back to the workplace, if you handled it well, you came out better on the other side. I came out with a new career out of the pandemic. And
Mhm.
I realized very early, no, seriously, opportunity is always staring us in the face. What are you doing with it?
Yes.
And then to also say to people, stop waiting on people to discover you. If you do that, the myopia of those around us, it stems from two places. The one fact is that they themselves don't even know themselves. So basically,
Yes.
you expect them to even know you.
Mhm.
Secondly, it is that the bunch of people, the general swathe of people will not compliment somebody else for who they are. So if
Yeah.
you're waiting on people to discover you and to compliment you and tell you that you're good at this, you will wait in vain. You know that meme of this the guy waiting on the park bench and he turns into a skeleton waiting? Like
Oh dear.
that's what's gonna
Oh my
happen. Enough said.
Let's hope none of our listeners is epitomizing that man on that park bench. But it happens so easily. I think, in all fairness, there are factors that go into that waiting, that search for affirmation outside of ourselves. That part of it has been how we've been nurtured, especially as women. But in general, we have been nurtured in such a way that we wait to be offered or we wait to be told. In fact, many a times we wait to be told what our gift is instead of exploring it and seeking it for ourselves.
Mm,
So when you talk about the myopic nature of those around us, and if ourselves included, it's truth, but it has been nurtured, it has been fed, and we are in positions now to make choices for ourselves. Ask ourselves, well, how has that served me? Waiting for people to say, oh, you're great, you sound great, you speak so well. That does not happen organically necessarily, especially if you have not specifically curated the people that you surround yourself with. So that's fantastic. But okay, wait just
mhm.
1 minute.
Awesome.
Let's tell people who you are, Lisa.
Yeah. Oh yes,
Because
yes.
we totally dove right into things there, and that's just sharing with you how much we want to talk about here in this little wee window of time. But Lisa, I know you're in Edmonton, and like me, you are a fellow St. Lucian, creating a life for yourself outside of the beautiful island and going home as often as we can.
Yeah.
And you have your own business that kind of took shape and was birthed after the pandemic. Tell my audience a little bit about what you do, who you are, and who you serve.
Okay, all right. So I am a certified life coach.
Mhm.
I'm also a certified speaking coach, and I'm an international keynote speaker and performance poet. That, in a
Oh,
nutshell, I think constitutes the different parts of my business. So in this, I call it dispensation. I started my business again in
mhm.
2020 or 2021.
Right.
However, my husband and I had been in business back in St. Lucia for many years before. And so I did have a training company in St. Lucia where the first iteration of my Speak with Confidence program took place. Back then, it was the ultimate speaker. So I've always been in
Ah,
speaking communication and realized I didn't just have a talent for speaking, but for coaching people into being confident speakers.
right.
And that started happening all the way back in St. Lucia, but we lost business in St. Lucia. We also had a media company that didn't work out, so which is why we found ourselves here. And you
Mhm.
know, Hadriana, from 2013 until 2019, 2020, when the pandemic hit, well, 2020, we were just head down trying to eke out a living in this place, right? You know
Right.
how it is, I'm not sure how it was for you, but starting all over again, we started we had two sons at the time when I came up, and a couple months later we had three sons. So I have three
Mercy.
boys. See, I like that. So for all of these years, 2013 until 2020, 7 years of just like roughing it out, hustling, doing what we had to survive and to eke out a living here in Edmonton. Then the
Mhm.
pandemic hit, and I got that opportunity to have enough time to just explore like, is this what I want to do? I do not want to work in an office. I'm
Right.
not cut out for it. I'm cut out for stuff like this, except that this has to pay. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So you get
exactly.
into the business senses, passion, yes, but passion that solves a problem that people will pay for. And so I began during the pandemic to do two things. I began to coach people. I set up a program called Speak with Confidence, and so blessed to have something that works for my clients. We're about to go into our 10th cohort of the program. So it teaches professionals and entrepreneurs how to speak with confidence. And I always say everything's tied together. So I'm in the communication field. That's where I make the most sense.
Yes, fair.
Words, it's writing, it's speaking, all of the things. And so from that program, I realized there were some people who didn't do very well in the group setting. These were the high level executives. And so I branched out into a bespoke program called All the World's a Stage because I have a degree in English and literature is my thing. You too?
Yes.
Is that it? You too?
Oh, I got a distinction in literature, my friend.
Oh,
That's me.
yes, that makes sense. I recognized it when you did it. I recognize the kindred spirit of, yeah, I know where you're coming from. So all the words of the sage is from um, Shakespeare, and I realize speaking is being on stage, and it is recognizing that there's a part of it that is performance. It's not
Right.
manipulation; it's performance. And
Right.
so since like 2021. I've also had this program running alongside Speak with Confidence, and I just take the execs, the CEOs, and I help them to cultivate presence and confidence as speakers in the privacy of the one-on-one coaching sessions. And
Mhm.
yeah, so that's basically what I do. And I've also began to travel internationally to
Right.
speak. To keynote here in Edmonton. I haven't done other parts of Canada. Yeah, I did Toronto one time. I've keynoted in Toronto,
Mhm.
and a lot in St. Lucia as well. And I'm really looking now to branch out because I love speaking, and my whole like my message for what I speak about is entrepreneurship and finding calling and going after it with desire and design. That's how you want to
Mhm.
get it done. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that speaks to me on so many levels. It sounds to me that out of the loss, so out of your, the
Lost.
business not working out of, things not quite taking shape the way you had hoped it would in one space, allowed you to move to another space and just give yourself the opportunity to feed the dream it didn't start out that way, like the first few years in Edmonton, but a situation kind of set you up to take a chance on yourself and deep dive. If ever I've seen a catalyst moment, this would kind of be a culmination, a long spread out catalyst moment that would allow you now to embody a lot of what you're teaching, which is finding that zone of genius. And if you find that your zone of genius is in the communication field, let's create some revenue streams from that. Why not?
Yeah.
So I'll ask you this. How do you help people actually figure out whether or not speaking is within their zone of genius?
Yeah.
For the elite executive, they may have had opportunities already to speak. They may have been exposed within their corporate environments to get up and speak. And maybe they have felt that, that seed kind of taking root. But within your group programs, you may meet some people that maybe they like the idea of speaking, but it might not be their zone of genius. Or you might find that one that's like, absolutely, you're meant for the stage. How do you help your clients or your prospects identify that this is that genius area that I need to pour everything into?
Thank you for that question. It can only come from a kindred spirit, a kindred speaker, I swear. Like let's find out, right? Okay. So I forgot to say, maybe I just do a lot of things, and sometimes I hold back because like I'm just that producer. I go at a high, I produce. That's what God made
Yes.
me to do, right? And on the
Yes,
cusp
ma'am.
of 50, I'm producing. So
Mhm.
here's the thing, Hadriana. When people started coming in to speak with confidence, I realized that I was actually attracting two kinds of people: the
Mhm.
executives and professionals who needed to speak because they had to do it in their jobs. They were attracted to speak with confidence. I also recognize a couple people who were more like me, who had the gift of the gab. You know how they say, right? Who had
Yes.
words for days, who didn't need paper to speak. These people began to really excite my interest in a way that it could not be satisfied with speak with confidence. And
Right.
so I know this will be aired later, and by that time I'll be deep into my next program. But I think honestly, this was a good idea of mine. I realized some people need to start not from how to speak, but from what do I want to tell the world. And so I'm starting a program called Find Your Fire in August. That's next month. This is for those people who want to become speakers, who want to get on stage and just when you are a speaker, it's always like you have this flag in your head, like you're waving to the world, hey, I have got something to say. When they came in, they never stayed. They did speak with confidence and they went their way because that's not
Yes.
exactly, they came for the confidence, but they can already speak.
Right.
Find your fire. The promise of Find Your Fire is that I will take you as a speaker from zero to your first 2K as a speaker. It's a
Hmm.
modest promise when you think about it, but if you've
Wow.
never made money as a speaker, the question is why? Maybe you don't have the strategy. Maybe I can teach you because I can. But if we start in that program with what do you want to say?
Mhm.
What is your visceral message to the world? Because there's something I'm sorry, like stop me, it, like this excites me like nothing else, right?
No doubt about it. Please go on.
Something
Tell
that
me about
says,
that fire.
yeah, anything that comes from the depth, anything that does not come from the depth of you will not reach the depth in other people. Think about it. The
Yeah.
thing that you feel the most deeply, it leaps out of you and it touches other people and it ignites a fire in them. And so the simple promise is to take speakers who feel a visceral message or don't even know what it is, but already have the gift of the gab. We will help you to decide what you should be speaking on and then teach you the 5 simple step process to get out there and to speak. Either as a keynote speaker, guest note speaker, you could be an MC or host, you could be the trainer or facilitator, or here's the last one that I came up with, the
Mhm.
streaming storyteller. Some people
Yeah.
like you and I never leave their home and they're making millions of dollars, right?
Yep.
And so
Absolutely.
that is how I differentiated just from being and staying in my lane. I began to notice who was who and
Mhm.
began to tailor programs for each of those two big buckets of people, those who had to speak for a living in the CEO bucket, and those who want to speak for a living because you've got the words for days.
Yes, yes, yes. It's quite something because I think true mastery comes when when desire meets an innate already in their gift.
Yes.
Because we can be talented and never achieve mastery. I remember saying to my daughters are they learn well. So they learn well within the traditional education system, except they both have certain subjects that they struggle with. So I remembered my one daughter, she's exceptional at music. Any instrument you put in front of her, she can play it. And yet she doesn't have a drive. She doesn't have a passion. And I understand that she's not one that is going to be outwardly cha cha cha, let's go. Ho, ho, ho. That's never her. She loves music. And I remember when she was kind of struggling with her lessons, she loves the music, but she was kind of struggling with her lessons. I remembered saying to her, there are others who will have less talent than you, but who may end up doing better than you because they have the passion, they have that deep desire to go. So for me, that mastery comes when that deep desire, that passion, you call it design meets design, desire and design come together. So when we have that want, like you were talking about for your program, you have the want, but you may not have an innate skill. We can fix that. And sometimes we have the innate gift of gab. We can talk for days, and yes, we can, but we don't yet have a package. We don't yet have a means to get that fire delivered. Bringing that together, I think it's like finding that secret sauce, that missing ingredient, and taking it to the world. So I really love that. And I love that the entire idea, it's rooted in finding your gift.
Yeah.
Finding your gift, but also what problem can you solve with out there? Like,
Yeah.
what can we contribute? How can we um, help relieve some pain in someone by using our gifts? And sometimes I think it's hard to find because if your gift is the gift of gab, you're like, nobody needs someone who just keeps talking. So how do we find that problem when it may not always be so easy to quantify how we can solve a problem with our gift?
All right. Okay, so that's the question, right? How do we go about finding it? All right. So I came up in all of this writing the book because I'm actually writing going to be publishing a book in October that's called From Cubicle to Calling. So just looking at my experience and examining the experiences of a couple great people, people
Mhm.
out there who've done great things. I came up with a simple equation for calling, that your calling is your gifts plus your why. So, what are you, as you said, innately called, innately able to do? It's a gift. You didn't work for it. God just gave it to you.
It's just there.
That's what. If we go back to our St. Lucian roots, and I know your audience is international, so we'll do a bit of explanation. But there's a family that stands out in St. Lucia for painting, the St. Thomas.
That's
Even
right.
their eyes are different.
Yes.
Metaphorically, you and I are literature people. How is it that the eyes, the windows to the soul, and to see, their eyes are all like gray and like, they are painting. It's just a gift from God. Almost every single member of the family can paint.
Yep.
Then you have people who have singing in their family. It's a gift. But here's the
Yes.
thing, some of the best singers are just cabaret singers on yachts.
Yep. Absolutely.
If you find a place, suppose you find a singer who comes together and brings all people with talented voices to sing and to build maybe orphanages in Central America. That's
Hmm.
calling. That's something that is put to the service of humanity. What I've discovered is when you have a why for your gifts, it goes
Yeah.
further. And my simple example, if I may, before turning it back to you, is my brother can make the best cheesecakes in the world, Adriana. He
Right.
he makes a cheesecake and you get off your diet. It has happened to me.
Do not send him this way. Do
I
not.
know we will not have him here, okay? He make all of us get off our diets. But my brother has no desire to make cheesecakes for a living. He just does it at home.
Exactly.
It's a bother to him, or the gas, the get the ingredient, but he makes the best cheesecakes. That's a gift that does not have a why. On the
Right.
other hand, this same boy, he loves basketball. He can play from morning to night, and it has
Yeah.
taken him very far, the national team and beyond. So his why is this is my gift, and I want to take it further, and I'm into it. So that he has a why. I want to play. This is what I want to do. It's not cheesecake, even though I'm gifted in it. And
Yeah.
so I think the first time I set a business, it was just about my gift. It was media communication. When I
Mm.
came in this setting, my gifts of speaking, writing, communicating, I have put to the service of the person who loses. I have a righteous anger for people who lose. For people, two things happens. We lose because of things within us. When you
Mhm.
have debilitating circumstances or things with fear, lack of confidence, I'm like, why? Why should those things prevent you from achieving all that you can? The second bucket of things that really anger me and give me a big why, my why is to help people to win, is from outside.
Mm.
Fortunately, we perhaps come from a culture where producers are not rewarded as much as consumers. So you are a pioneer, you are punished. Unfortunate. And I love my country. There's only one place I am naturally not a stranger. I'm deeply
Right.
St. Lucia. The drums, the colors, this is
All of it.
all of it. However, the culture sometimes is to punish the people who are producing, the entrepreneurs, the creators, and to reward the people who just want to go with the flow. And I'm
Mhm.
so that's why I don't subscribe to that. I'm not of that anymore. Like I just don't make any sense in something like that. And
Right.
so I'm always the champion of the underdog. And there are two kinds of underdogs. There's the person who comes, the dark horse who comes from behind. There
Mhm.
is also the person, the heavyweight who's at the top and who's hated. And I coach
Right.
a lot of those kinds of people. Like, who do you think you are? Prime candidate for my coaching, because many
Right.
times you did not make yourself, you are just outstanding and strong, and you do a lot of things well and you get punished for it. I will teach you how to become the person who's so okay with who you are, but also can make people around you feel comfortable if they have enough gumption to do so. So my
Yeah.
why
Powerful.
as the chief inspirer and a coach and a speaker is to put it to the service of I want you to win. Like, why should you not win? And I
Yeah.
feel it very like deeply within me.
I sense that. You know what? I welcome people with passion to this stage because passion will say more about who you are and how you can help than any bio ever would.
Thank you.
So don't worry. If I need to rein you in, I'm going to take my
Okay.
lasso and pull you back. But we
I'm
good, we
coachable.
good,
I'm
we good.
coachable.
Don't worry. But I really love that. I appreciate that we can find purpose when we take our innate gifts and attach a why to it. And I also appreciate coming out of that sentiment that our why, our purpose, our calling is not necessarily just that one thing, and it can manifest in different ways. So your brother and the cheesecake, fine, no problem. He don't want to do that, but he does it well. That's fine. Your brother in basketball, there's something in it that's driving, and there's something that naturally, and even if he has to put in the effort to maintain mastery, it doesn't matter. He gonna come off the court and say, "Boy, I'm tired. My hamstrings hurt because I overdid this," and he'll go back and do it
Very
again
early the
and
next
again
morning.
and again. He is operating in a space where that why and that gift have come together, and I love that explanation. I really appreciate it. Tell me this: with our conversation being, aiming for mastery, we're encouraging our audience to not settle. What do you see as a danger of mediocrity? Because that's the alternative, right?
Exactly.
What do you see as the person who has that story to tell, who has that passion, or who has that innate gift, but is being held back either by internal or external circumstances? Either one. What is the danger that is inherent in taking a seat that says, you know what, I'm just going to settle here. What I'm doing is okay for now, even if it's bubbling inside them and it wants to come out,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they're being held back? How do you see mediocrity as being dangerous?
That's in any sphere, not just speaking, right?
Any sphere.
Okay, a couple things. You're never going to be totally fulfilled because you'll know that you're operating at half mast, at half the level that you can. That's the first one. The second
Mm-hmm.
one, unfortunately, is those people who have extra in the tank are usually the most jealous and the most bitter when they see other. I said it. Yes, we're going there. The, the most jealous and the most bitter when they see other people trying to make it to the top. And so to avoid that, you just get on your lane, darling. You just start to climb your own ladder because it's only yours. Nobody can climb it for you. The third
Yes.
one is that, and perhaps it might be the most general and public, you are depriving the world of your gift. You are depriving the world of the of asking the question. I always say I want to speak, perform poetry, coach, and write so that people ask the question, who's my father, my heavenly father? I want to
Mm-hmm,
do it at
mm-hmm.
such a level that they don't even see me. They're like, this could never come from her. There had to have been somebody else pushing her. Who is her father? You know how in our society, when you see somebody, you're like, okay, who's that person's mother or father?
Yes. Whose is you?
What's your surname again? What's your surname again?
Yes.
Right? I always said, like, I want to push myself to the level where all sorts of people come within the sound of my voice and my talent, wondering who's this person, and then they discover you can do so much more, like influencing with faith by being professional and being a master at what you do. You influence way more people than coming and beating people down with a Bible like that.
Yes.
No. Okay, so
100%.
that's what it is. So stop depriving people of your gift and get in the space of hard work, grit, determination, and design so that you can achieve a level of mastery and be a credit to your country, your race, your population, your family, your everything. Yeah.
Yeah. All of our belief systems, everything that we believe to be true needs to be manifested when we step out the door. In fact, before we even step out the door, in the way we carry ourselves, in the way we speak, in the way we do our work,
Yeah.
even in the way we sit quietly with ourselves.
Mhm.
Everything we believe, and that is for better or worse,
Yeah.
will manifest itself as we interact with the world around us. So, if you are going to settle for mediocrity, that is telling a tale as well. Because I believe that the world sees us playing small,
Yeah.
and the world is going to read so much about us that they will most likely just disregard us as irrelevant. This is not someone I need to know. They don't have anything that needs to be told, as opposed to when we aim for mastery, not perfection.
Mastery. Yes. No, no, it's
Mastery.
not possible. Like, how are we doing perfection anyway when we're not perfect, right?
Well,
So
the girl can try.
yeah, you can try it. That for me, like one of the things I teach in Speak with Confidence, you just aim to be effective, not perfect, because then
Yeah.
you'd be chasing an elusive thing where you're
Yeah.
not perfect. And if you wait for it to be perfect to step out, you are again depriving people of the value that you can bring at any level. So step
Mhm.
out, grow, and cater to more and more people as you go along.
Yes. One of the things that I determined, it's one of my core values, is that I aim for significance. Because one thing I noticed is I could talk and I could say a lot, but there are some things that don't need to be said. They don't contribute to getting the message across. they don't contribute to setting the tone or, setting up the story. I believe that my actions and my words need to have significance. They may not always be perfect. They may not always be, polished, but the intention behind it is going to be to create everyone who comes into my circle. My aim is
Yes.
that everyone leaves better after having interacted with me. That's it. That's all. I
Agree.
am an inspiration. That's my purpose.
I like that.
And that purpose, it ripples across all the roles that I play. So, for example, whether or not I am a master at writing books, I will contribute in a way that is significant and meaningful to any areas where I may have to write. So
Mm.
I might not be a prolific writer, but my writing, if it's done, if I decide to be a writer, my writing is going to be done in a way that is going to inspire someone and that is going to have them leave better for having interacted with my writing. So in your world, when you're talking and helping, when you're speaking yourself, talking to audiences, you define your calling as what?
My calling is to help you to win.
To
My
help
calling
you
is to help
win.
you to win. Through my speaking, coaching, and writing, I will help you to win. That's it. That's
Yes.
like the professional calling. I think I do have a spiritual one as well, which is to preach God's word at some
Mhm.
point. I know that.
Yeah.
That's the higher purpose in my opinion. But professionally, I'm chief inspirer, and I'm not just words. Like I will show you and help you to see that you are meant to win, not because of what I say, but because of who God made you to be and who you are and the things that you've done. Because we do not stop to acknowledge who we are. Like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it starts rooted in that space of your giftedness and finding your why. I'm curious a little bit, just a tiny bit, about that book you mentioned, and I'd love to know more. I know it's not yet out as of the day of us recording this, but I feel that there is a launch coming. Tell me a little bit about the book and when we can expect to have copies out in our hands.
Thank you for that opportunity. This book is called, so I've written a couple before. They're all on Amazon and on my website. This one is called From Cubicle to Calling, and how I found my dream career during the pandemic. I changed the pandemic part because Hadriana, these words are like ill
I
words.
know. What do you call it?
Yeah, but
Challenge?
from cubicle to calling because I literally was in a cubicle and
Got it.
realized these walls were too small for my dream, fire, vision, all of the things. And I went deeply into gifts plus Y equals calling. That's why I'm here today. Okay.
Got it.
And so I'm launching that book on my birthday. My birthday is October 31. So this is after this airs a little bit. And what it is for me, it's also my 50th birthday. And Adriana, you don't turn 50 very often.
Listen, nothing's guaranteed these days, my dear.
Yes, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I think I feel like I want to celebrate. I've never had a birthday party kind of.
Hmm.
So like it's a birthday party, but it's also the launch of somebody who's found purpose. And so the book launch happens. I just started a foundation called Speak Up Canada Foundation. So it's going to be the official launch of that foundation where again using the gift of speaking to go out into the community, the youth and immigrants and teach them one, that they have a voice, and two, speaking is art and science, and this is how you do it. That's my whole aim. I will teach you how to speak with confidence and authenticity. And I'm taking that out into the schools and into the immigrant communities because I feel like in an age where we are being threatened with being annexed, oh gosh, everybody needs to speak out.
Oh dear. That's a whole other podcast episode.
Exactly. Like, how dare you? You only do that to people you think you can. Okay, would you
Yeah.
ever do that to Russia? No. So we
Imagine.
need to, the voice gives you stridency, it gives you credibility. It tells people this is how far you go with me. Because what some of the places I've gotten into as an immigrant, black woman, Caribbean, from 238 square miles, it's because I've dared to say I've got a voice and it's okay. And
Hmm.
I'm not gonna be like No, you're not gonna
Yep.
define me. God defined me already, so I'm sorry, you know?
Mhm.
So I'm going out. It's the launch of that book, From Cubicle to Calling. And the hope, as you something you said just struck me so nicely. Something you said about everybody who comes into your presence needs to leave feeling
Better.
inspired and feeling better than they came.
Yep.
To tell you the truth, my aim for this book launch, October 31, is a Friday. My aim is that when people see what's possible at 50, they will make the next 50 years of their lives, wherever they are, better. They will
Yeah.
recognize that one, with God, two, with community, three, with desire, determination, and design, you can accomplish way more. I want people to leave with a plan for their own success, even as they see the things that I'm going to be presenting to them, which would be book launch, foundation launch, and I'm going to be doing some performance poetry. I haven't really done it in this space, so I'm kind of looking forward to bringing that gift of myself to my Edmontonian community. Yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting. And no online streaming, please.
Yeah, we should consider that. I didn't think about that. That could be something we do. Wow. Yeah, we
A
might.
100%. I'd
Yeah,
love to share in it. I know I'll be in Calgary earlier in October, but I don't know that I'll be back for the end of October. But I'd love to be part of that
yeah,
celebration, that launch. I'd love
yes,
to support it, but
yes,
also to bring that energy, to bring some good juju to the
yes, some,
space
yes, some good.
as you celebrate that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
can.
something to consider. If
Oh, thank
not for
you.
now, perhaps for another time.
Mhm.
But I'm looking forward to this, Lisa. I really am, and I am truly inspired by the work that you're doing. I hear the passion in your voice, and I see that this is something that doesn't just feed your soul; it feeds the souls of all those that you are putting your gift out to help them. So your ripple,
Yeah.
it's, I mean, where you've reached, the people you've been able to support, reach, and touch is at this point immeasurable, just because you have been brave enough to step up there and say, I have a gift. Here is my gift. Go and do with it what it needs to do for you. So I'm really thankful to have been part of your world, and thankful that you have been part of this episode. Please tell my audience where they can find you. How can we reach you and get in touch?
No problem. So my website is lisamdublin.com. And I think on there there's a contact me page. I'm all over social media. As you know, we have to do whatever you're 50 or 25. Like if you're in this online space, yeah. So my
Yes.
handle everywhere is at Lisa M. Dublin. That's on Instagram, that's on LinkedIn. It's also on Facebook now. I'm having some issues with Facebook now and again, but I'm back on there at Lisa M. Dublin. You can find me there. The only different one is that on YouTube, my channel is called Basement Chronicles, because again, the authenticity of who I am is during COVID, I started Basement Chronicles. It was a 3-minute vlog, and like I was just going on encouraging people for my own self. It has grown into a live stream that I go a Sunday interview as well, and I'm trying to get merch as well, because it was just a whole movement that started from this is where we are, and I'm literally, as I am now, I'm still in my basement. So just the analogy of foundational and something that's very visceral. So
Yes.
that's the
Yeah.
channel, Basement Chronicles on YouTube.
Yeah, your Basement Chronicles reminds me there was a time during COVID. I'm like, let me just go on there and sing. And I called mine Bathroom Ballads because the bathroom had the best acoustics.
Is it out there? Is it out there?
Oh, it's ages old. It's long, long time. It's probably on Facebook somewhere. I just went on. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go sing,
Yeah,
and did that. But you know what? We do what we have to do.
yeah.
If I can help someone in the world feel better, if I can help you, like you said, if you can help someone win, job well done.
Well done.
And our capacity to do that and earn a good living, create wealth and impact with our work, I mean, that is purpose in and of itself. So thank you. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you taking the time. Any final words for our audience before we hop off?
It was just lovely meeting you. You're as interesting a host as you are somebody I'd love to interview. So I'm publicly extending the invitation to come on my podcast sometime. We need to speak. We know you're very interesting. I really appreciated that.
Not a problem. And I'd be happy to come on. It would be my pleasure. And to our audience out there, thank you so much for tuning in. I know that you've loved this episode. This has been gold. And I'll see you on the next episode of Catalyst Conversations. Take care now.